What if I told you that the US government once ran secret brothels, not for profit, but for mind control experiments? In the 1950s and 60s, at the height of Cold War paranoia, the CIA launched one of its most disturbing programs ever. A sub-project of MKUltra, known as Project Midnight Climax. This wasn't science fiction. This was real, and for years, no one knew. To understand Project Midnight Climax, we need to go back to the early Cold War. The CIA feared that enemies like the Soviet Union and China were developing mind control techniques, brainwashing, psychological torture, chemical interrogation. So in 1953, under CIA Director Allen Dulles, MKUltra was born. Its goal, to control human behavior. One of the key figures behind these experiments was Sidney Gottlieb, a chemist who became known as the Poisoner-in-Chief, and one of his most bizarre ideas became Project Midnight Climax. The CIA set up secret apartments, called safehouses, in places like San Francisco and New York City. These weren't ordinary apartments. They were wired with hidden microphones, one-way mirrors, recording equipment. And then they hired sex workers. The mission: lure unsuspecting men back to these apartments. Once inside, the men were secretly dosed with LSD, without their knowledge or consent. Then agents would sit behind mirrors, watching everything, sometimes drinking cocktails, sometimes taking notes, sometimes just observing. The goal wasn't just to see how LSD affected people. The CIA wanted to know, could drugs weaken someone's resistance to interrogation? Could sexual situations be used for blackmail? Could a person be manipulated without realizing it? Men were placed in deeply vulnerable situations, intoxicated, disoriented, and often paranoid. They had no idea they were part of an experiment. No consent, no warning, no follow-up. Some reportedly suffered severe psychological distress. One of the darkest aspects of MKUltra was the death of Frank Olson. Olson was a government scientist who was secretly dosed with LSD by CIA colleagues. Days later, in 1953, he fell, or was pushed from a hotel window in New York. His death was officially ruled a suicide for years, but later investigations raised serious doubts. His family would spend decades fighting for the truth. While Olson wasn't directly part of Midnight Climax, his case exposed the same pattern: human beings treated as expendable test subjects. Internal reports later revealed something chilling. Some CIA operatives began to treat the project casually, even mockingly. One agent described the safe houses as a place where they could observe the effects of LSD on unwitting subjects in a relaxed environment. Relaxed. Let that sink in. Men were unknowingly drugged, their behavior recorded, their minds manipulated, and the people running it sometimes saw it as entertainment. 4 years, Project Midnight Climax remained completely secret. But in the 1970s, everything began to unravel. In 1975, the Church Committee launched an investigation into intelligence abuses. At the same time, the Rockefeller Commission examined CIA activities. That's when MKUltra and its disturbing subprojects were exposed. But there was a problem. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered most MKUltra files destroyed. Thousands of documents gone. What we know today comes from surviving records and testimony, meaning the full truth we may never know. Project Midnight Climax sounds like something out of a dystopian movie, but it wasn't fiction. It was real. It happened. And it raises a question that still matters today. How far should governments go in the name of security? Because in the shadows of the Cold War, lines were crossed. People were used, and some secrets are still buried. If you want more deep dives into real secret programs and hidden history, subscribe, because the truth is often stranger and darker than fiction.